I'm Ray Russell, a financial coach, and this is my passion. This is what I love to do, love to teach, love to educate. So today I'm going to talk about on the side of financial identity theft. We all are different individuals here. There's no two-person that's the same here in this classroom. And there's some ways that we can tell the difference between who we are by what? Our thumbprints. What else? Social Security numbers, yes. And she wins the prize, right? And so just to give you a little background on who I am, I've been in business since 1996. I started while I was in the military, did 13 years as a veteran, Navy veteran. And so I started way back when. And I've gathered a lot of information along the way to where I'm now pouring back into people. So this class is about you. What you don't know about your money is going to cost you big time. If somebody gets a hold of your identity, it's going to cost you big time. And I'm going to share with you some different concepts that's going to help you. For example, in today's society, you must become an educated consumer. You cannot sit back and expect everything to go right with you. Expect things to go wrong at the same time. And then when it does, what can I do about it? A lot of times people just like, oh, I don't know what else to do. The creditors are calling me. And they just sit back. We all have smartphones, right? Or we still have the flip phones. Who still have a flip phone in here? Nobody. These phones talk to you. You can actually ask questions and it answers you back. How many of you have the phones like that? iPhones that talk back to you? Yeah, Google phones, right? And so ask. Information highways at your fingertips. Do the research. Don't just take my word for it. Do the research. You have to become an educated consumer because there are businesses out there are people out there that just want your identity. And when they get it, they can do whatever they want to do with it. Identity theft is the fastest growing white-collar crime in America. The FBI is saying that. Why is that? Why is it the fastest growing white-collar crime in America? Anyone have any ideas? It's easy. What else? Accessibility, right? So we know it's the fastest growing crime and it goes undetected for many, many years. What is identity theft? This is the basic definition. I'm going to read this through to you because I want you to understand that identity theft, it covers a whole multitude of things. For one thing, identity theft occurs when someone knowingly transfers or uses without lawful authority a means of identification of another person. Stealing somebody's identity. The intent to commit or aid or abet any unlawful activity that constitutes a violation of the federal law. Someone can use your identity and create crimes. And guess who is responsible? You are. Isn't that crazy? You are responsible. And sometimes if they get a hold of your identity and they've committed crimes, you get pulled over by a police officer for a speeding ticket and they run your identity, they take you to jail. You're guilty. You have to prove your innocence. So this is very, very unfortunate. For example, here you are on top. These are all the different areas that your identity is being shared. Cell phone. How many of you put your identity in your cell phone, like your social security number, your bank account number, everything in your cell phone? People can get in there and hack it. You think it's safe because it's passcode protected. But they can get into that. Internet. How many of you order stuff online? They can get into the internet, right? The mail. We got mail, junk mail. It has your name. It has your address. It has some other information about you. Like, it's just junk. You throw it in the trash. Have you heard of dumpster trash? Or how you call it? Dipsy diving? Yeah? People make a killing just going in somebody else's trash and see what they can find. So if you have mail, especially credit card offers that you're like, it's just junk mail, make sure you shred it. Not just tear it up, but shred it, okay? Do not throw stuff in your trash like that. Flash drives. People put a lot of stuff on flash drives. And what happens when you lose that flash drive? It falls in the wrong hands. Now you just gave some total stranger all of your information. There are flash drives that you can actually have passcodes and protections on. So you need to get the ones that have the protections. Your bank They have all of your information, right? You have utility bills, you got your computer databases, everything is in here. How about your student loan? What do you give them? Name, social security number, date of birth. It's going in a file somewhere. Hopefully the people that's taking care of your files are good people and not going to compromise your identity. Even the government, they keep track of your identity. They had a VA breach about 3-4 years ago, and a lot of the VA veterans got affected by that because someone hacked into this. Driver's license. You lose your driver's license. Somebody can actually take that driver's license and duplicate yourself, right? And go ahead and commit crimes. Get speeding tickets in your name. And you are innocent, right? You don't know anything about it. Company laptops. If it's a company laptop, it is a company laptop. Do not put your personal stuff on that company laptop. Because when you get fired or you let go of that job, guess what goes back to the company? The laptop. And guess who's using it? Somebody else, right? So they can pull up all of your information. So the idea is to safeguard. Is there a need to know? Somebody asks for your social security. Do you need my social security number? Ask them that question. If they don't give it to them, okay? So State Senator Deborah Bowen, back in the days, identity theft was one of the easiest, most risk-free crime thieves can commit. You don't need to have a gun. You don't need to have a knife. Just a person's identity to create a crime. This is a serious epidemic that's going on. All they need is someone's social security number. So I'm going to stress, everyone in here has a different social security number, every single one of you. Safeguard it. Do not just leave it out there on a piece of paper for somebody to take a hold of it, okay? You want to make sure it's kept in a safe, secure place. The safest place you can keep your social security number is where? In your head. You memorize it. Some people walk around with their card in their wallet. What happens when you lose that wallet? You got your driver's license, you got your social security number, you got everything in that wallet. Memorize it, okay? Identity theft is the only crime in America where you are presumed what? Guilty. You got to prove your innocence. You have to prove your innocence. No one wants to hear, oh, my identity was stolen. Really? Okay, prove it. And now it's going to cost you a whole lot of money to do that. And what it costs someone? About $1,200 to clear their name. Who has an extra $1,200 to do that? But you're innocent, right? A crime was committed, but you have to end up spending a whole lot of money to clear your name. Now, there are 5 types of identity thefts out here. Driver's license is one of them, your social security, medical, criminal, and financial. Do you know if you lose your medical card, somebody can pretend they're you and go to the doctors in your name? Yeah. And what someone is subject as a victim of identity theft is only limited to the imagination of the person that have their information. They can do whatever they want to do with your identity. There was a story about, not a story, but a fact about a lady that went into the doctors, and when they pulled her file, information in there wasn't even hers. She had an amputation, amputation of her leg. She's walking with 2 legs. That's not my file. But look, it shows that you were admitted to the hospital, and this is what we have. So they keep files. I'm telling you, this is so serious that a lot of people are like, I don't know. I don't have to pay attention to this. It doesn't pertain to me. But when it comes to you, then you'll see a different story. Then you're like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Because it's like you against the world. So are you at risk? Do you expose your social security number to people? What are you doing? Are you careless with your mail? Next time you check your mail, open it up. If it's something that someone can quickly clone you or steal your identity from, shred it. Keep your secure and sensitive information locked away. Check your credit reports yearly. Who can tell me what the credit report, the place that you can get a copy of a credit report? What's the name of the website? Annualcreditreport.com. If you go to Credit Karma, freecreditreport.com, these companies sell your information. What do you give them? your name, your social security, your date of birth. This is what you need to safeguard. These companies make a killing by selling your identity to third parties or fourth parties. So annualcreditreport.com is the only official website that you can go to get a copy of your credit report. And every single year, you're entitled to that report. So why not take advantage of it? Why not look and see what's being reported? If you enter in sensitive information on public computers, don't do it. You go to the library and you put all your information in. That is saved on somewhere in the hard drive in a cookie file, right? I don't know much about computers, but I know everything that you enter in a computer is saved somewhere, okay? When you go to restaurants and you order your meals, don't let them just take your credit card. Go with your credit card, because you don't know who that waiter is or that waitress is. They can easily scan and take your information. Next thing you know, they're ordering stuff for their kids for Christmas, okay? Make sure you go along with your credit card, see what they're doing with it, okay? And then sign up for identity theft protection. You can actually put a fraud alert on your credit file. All you have to do is call them up, because each of the credit bureau has an 800 number, and said, I would like to put a fraud alert on my credit. It's free. You don't even have to pay for it. Every 6 months, just re-up. You don't have to pay for it, okay? I like free. I don't know about you, but I like free. Driver's license identity. Your driving privileges could be suspended. Police pull you over for brake lights broken or whatever. Can I get your ID, your driver's license, proof of registration? They run a routine check. Next thing you know, they're taking you away in handcuffs. This is scary stuff. You could be arrested for just a routine stop. Thieves can open up bank accounts in your name. They can apply for credit cards. They can cash checks in your names. So if I'm not scaring you right now, I hope I'm shaking you up, so you're more aware of what's going on around you. This was an article that was posted back in November 2004. This gentleman here served 4 years in the Air Force. He came back. He served 4 years in the Air Force, wasn't even local. He came back, and what? There was a warrant out for his arrest, driving on a revoked license. He was responsible for 20 delinquent accounts for cell phone bills, credit cards, utility bills, and hospital bills. He was linked to a string of felonies, including auto theft and drug charges. State regulators began garnishing 60% of his wages to pay child support to a woman in Chicago he had never heard of. This is crazy, right? But he was serving 4 years abroad and came home to this. So he spent a lot of time trying to clear up his name, because he is presumed what? Guilty. He has to prove his innocence, even in a case like that. Social Security identity theft. Illegal immigrants use Social Security number to get employment, to report incomes. So if you lose your Social Security card, make sure that Social Security administrations know about it, okay? So they can put an alert on that. They can file false income tax returns, or even file for Social Security benefits using your number. That number that you have is priceless. 10 million Social Security numbers are bought and sold every 6 weeks in the US. That's a big business. It goes undetected for years and years, until you get ready to buy a house or you get ready to buy a car, and they're like, you don't qualify. You're like, what? You know? And I'm going to share some slides with you about children. Why your children are at risk. How many of you have kids? How many of you here are going to have kids? Yeah, right? Think about this. Someone can get your child's Social Security number and mess up that child's future forever, okay? This little 4-year-old right here, this is no joke. $23,000 on his credit cards. That's a 4-year-old. His condo is in foreclosure, and he turns 4 on Friday. This is real. This is not just, some stories. So children are a better target for identity theft. If you have babysitters watching your child in your house, make sure all your stuff is up, locked away. I suggest getting a safe to put all of your secure documents. Even family members. When I taught this class, I had a couple of students, well, one student after the class came up to me and said, you know, when I ran my credit, there were things on my credit report that wasn't mine. She just turned 18. There were cell phone bills, Cox cable bills, and some other bills was on her credit report. So who do you think got access to her stuff? Family members, an aunt, an uncle, somebody. Now, it's kind of like, okay, do I call the cops on my family? That type of thing, right? Do I call a crime was committed, do I call the police on my family? But someone did take advantage of her identity and mess her up. So she had to spend a lot of years now trying to clear her name, okay? So children have a clean credit history. Parents rarely have reasons to check their child's credit report. You can check your child's credit report. As long as they have a number, you can check that report. So what I advise parents to do is every year, check. Every year, check, because you can easily fix that while they're young, okay? Medical identity. You could owe thousands of dollars for a procedure you never had. Like I told you, lady, the amputated leg. She paid for that, okay? You could become uninsurable or denied for insurances and employment. They say here, because of conditions that you do not have, like AIDS and diabetes. You know, when they do check, if you're going for an employment, they're going to do a background check. They're going to check and see if you're healthy, right? And if that pops up in your medical record, you're like, hold up, I don't have AIDS. I don't have diabetes. Now you have to prove that you don't have that, okay? So that's going to cost you a whole lot of money. Health insurance cards are being sold on the black market for $500 to $600 each. It's a big crime, big heavy-duty crime right here. And so you have to safeguard your identity. Criminal identity. Thieves mask their criminal activity behind your identity. Like I said, they use your identity to create crimes. A theft occurs when an imposter gives another person your name, your information, such as your driver's license, date of birth, social security. Imagine an individual get pulled over, and the first thing the cops ask is for what? Registration and what else? Proof of insurance. So I got all that information. Now who's getting the ticket? You are. Because they have produced a copy of your driver's license. They have access to your social security number. You can easily say, this is so-and-so, this is my date of birth. I need a card mailed to this address. I need to change my address, okay? So if they're going out to do a crime, especially an identity theft crime, trust and believe they've done some research and they know exactly how to go about it. So you could be arrested for crimes, like I said, you didn't commit. You don't want to wait till it's late. Check your identity, check your credit report right now and see what's being reported so you can put a stop to it, okay? So financial theft, this page right here has information that you can actually be proactive and get your free reports from. 877 ID theft, consumer.gov.ID theft. These are areas that you can actually report. If someone has stolen your identity, you can go in there and report that to these agencies. So you got to take charge. Who's going to take charge? Who's responsible for this? Who's responsible for making sure that your identity is on point? You are. So you have to be proactive, okay? And do not wait until it's too late. So take advantage of the law and send letters so that it reaches the credit. If somebody uses your identity and they got a credit card and you realize, hey, my bill is coming in, this is not my charge, make sure you get in contact with that credit card company right away. Don't wait on it. Don't wait until the next bill cycle because then it might be too late. If you let them know that there is someone that has tampered with your identity, they can go in and stop and freeze that card, okay? But you have to do so. And then monitor, always put that fraud alert on your credit file so they can monitor your report. So latest facts about this crime. 57% of victims had new accounts open in their name. There was 62% had warrants issued out for their arrests. 82% found through an adverse action. Out-of-pocket costs about $1 million, okay? $1,000. Victims spend an average of 157 hours trying to fix their identity, That's a lot of money, okay, that's going down there, going down the tubes. 63% could not get their credit reports cleaned. It's hard. If you're trying to clean your credit report, it's tough. Some people have to hire an attorney to do that. So 63% is a pretty high number. 22% had their Social Security tied to someone else's. I remember a couple years back when I did tax refunds. I don't do that anymore. I have somebody else take care of that. It's a headache. But I did gentleman's taxes, and when we tried to send it electronically, it came back saying that it was already processed. Someone had his Social Security number, went ahead and filed for his taxes, and that same day that he went home and checked the mail, he got a check for $9,000 in his mail. Came right back. He says, Coach Ray, we just filed this. It couldn't go through, but here's the check. Here's the refund check. What do you think happened? Someone used his address. They know what time he was going to be home, so they check his mail. Luckily, he had went home right away and checked his mail, because they would have gotten a check for $9,000, right, that he would have to say, it wasn't mine, I didn't cash it. They had his identity. So what he did was turn it in, and then they put a flag on his credit profile, okay? So this is a serious crime that's going on like that. Some of it's going undetected. So be aware, and do not let people use your cards, your credit cards, your debit cards, okay? And safeguard your identity. So what can you do? You can deter identity thieves by safeguarding your information, locking it away, memorizing your number. You can detect suspicious activity by routinely monitoring your financial accounts and billing statements. When you get your bill, look it over. Don't just pay the minimums and get rid of it. Look and see if there are any charges. Defend against identity theft as soon as you suspect a problem. So under deter, how can you deter? You could shred your financial documents. How many of you have a shredding machine at home? And if you don't, what do? How do you get rid of your stuff? You tear it? You burn it, okay. So if you tear it, do you know that thieves can put it all together? If you shred it and it's shredded thick enough, they can actually stick it together. It's like putting a jigsaw puzzle together, you know? Protect your Social Security number. Don't give out your personal information unless you're sure you're dealing with the right person, okay? Don't use obvious passwords, especially for your account, your date of birth. What's your password? My date of birth. Well, if a thief knows your date of birth, guess the first numbers they're going to try is your date of birth, okay? So make your passwords capital letter, number, sign, whatever. Make it on to where someone cannot get your passwords. Make your information secure. Detect. How do you detect? Be alert. Your mails and your bills, if they don't arrive on time, if you're supposed to receive a bill a certain time and you don't get it, make sure you contact that company and say, hey, I haven't received my bill. They're like, oh, we have a change of address on file for you. Okay, that's a red flag, right? Inspect your credit report, and here is the official website, annualcreditreport.com. You can do it by phone, but I always like going online. When you do go online, make sure you're connected to a printer so you can print out the report, or save it on your thumb drive that's secured, your secured thumb drive, okay? And inspect your financial statements. Look for charges that you didn't make. How do you defend against the identity theft? We talked about the fraud alert. Here it is again. On your credit reports, all you got to do is call any of these numbers here for the different bureaus: Equifax, Experian, TransUnion. And then when you get your credit report, make sure you review it line item by line item, okay? So every one of you can do this today. Call and put a fraud alert on your file, okay? Close accounts that have been tampered, and you must file a police report. They're going to ask you. And it's easy as calling the police and say, you know, my identity has been compromised, and they'll give you a report, a police report. So you can take that and send in. And then contact the Federal Trade Commission. This Federal Trade Commission is working on your behalf, okay? Consumers have rights. So if in case, like say for example, you have that fraud alert on your file, and someone tried to open up a credit card in your name, they're going to call you. You're going to get a phone call. or an email just to make sure it's you. If you're going to travel out of state and your bank, let's say, for example, using me as an example, I'm from the Caribbean islands. So one year I went home on vacation and I didn't tell my bank I was going home to the Caribbean on vacation. So I didn't walk with cash. I have my debit card. Treated my family out for dinner. I said, I got it. I got it. Got to the cash register. I didn't get it. They're like, ma'am, sorry, your card didn't go through. I'm like, what do you mean my card didn't go through? I got money on my account. Run it again, please. She ran it, says, sorry, ma'am, declined. Now I'm embarrassed. I'm looking at my mom, that's like, so my mom had to pay for the meal. When I called my bank, they said, well, ma'am, you live in San Diego, and we saw someone trying to charge your account in the Virgin Islands, so we stopped it because I had an alert on my debit card with my bank. That was to safeguard me. So I couldn't get mad, right? But then they released the funds knowing that I was there. So if you're going to leave, you're going to go out of country, make sure you let your banks know just to protect yourself, okay? And put that alert on there. So most people don't plan to fail. They really don't. No one grows up or live and say, somebody's going to mess up my identity. No one plans that, right? But if you fail to have a plan, what are you going to do when it happens? Do you know the precautions? Now you have information. Save this information. You might not need it now, but I trust and believe you're going to need it sometime in the future, or you might run into someone that needs this information. Then you can say, hey, now you feel like, hey, I know what to do, right? So if you look at you in the center here and all these arrows are pointed in all different directions, you have businesses and connections all over, okay? You got to safeguard you. You know why? Because the problem is all these financial institutions here, their whole purpose is to sell you products. They're not here to give you any solutions, right? Think about it. If you go to the mortgage company, what do they sell? Homes. Credit card companies? Credit cards. They're going to try to get you a credit card, okay? So most people don't know where to go to get the help. Unless you have a financial expert in your family, you really don't know where to go to get the help. My identity has been compromised. What do I do? Okay? And if you do know where to go, you cannot afford it because they're going to charge you. They're going to charge you to get your credit straight, okay? So one of the things that we do here, especially with our company, we sit down with folks and we help them one-on-one. There's no fee for our services, none whatsoever, because we give back. San Diego Financial Literacy, their job is to give information out.